Woo.
Hey.
Hey, had to get that lighting right. It done got a little dark out here. The rains are coming.
Yes. My head done start hurt. So
Oh yeah, those allergies.
that's how you know you're getting old, boy. Your knees hurt, your head hurt. You're like, oh shucks, it's about to rain.
And the rains are coming.
The rain is
So
coming.
welcome everybody. I know people are starting to come in. Please share this out with your friends, with your network. Got a lot to talk about today. We'll be talking a little bit about education news with Dr. Penny Swins Bus Tour, who's the education commissioner. We'll talk about critical race theory. We'll talk about the summer slide, since we're sliding out about 30 days or a little bit less as before we start back school. And so chime on in, tell us good morning, and again, like and share. And I see we got Ms. Wilson on here, who we'll be talking to later. Good morning to you as well. And how's your week started off, Sang? I know we started off on Tuesday. I'll tell you because I know you're updating. This has been a interesting summer. You know, we kicked off our surveys today as we're getting community input, but this week has gotten off to a great start and looked like we're about to get some much needed rain. I don't know if people went to the fireworks show. They said that some people were unfortunately in the zone where the fireworks are going to go up, but I saw it all the way on the news that it was about 400,000 people downtown. So it was a lot going on these past 4 or 5 days. But
Yeah.
how's your week started off?
It started off pretty good. I mean, I messed up day wise, you know. I still don't know what today is. The only reason why I did because the ding that went off on my phone. Otherwise, I'm quite confused. I am quite confused about the days of the week.
Yes. But what were some of the best things you ate over the weekend?
Oh, everything. Shoot. Ribs and chicken, and hot dogs and hamburgers, pot roast and strawberry shortcakes and sweet potato pies and turnip green. Shoot, we get down over here. We on. Yesterday morning, I got up early and fixed cat head biscuits. Y'all don't know what cat head biscuits are, do you, John? Cat head biscuits are biscuits that are the size of the cat head. I made some homemade biscuits and country ham yesterday morning. And fried potato. You know, I got me a new honey, so I got to cook up a storm and cook up a bit. So
yeah, them fried potatoes ain't no joke.
Yeah, I'm all country over here, y'all.
Yeah. Ivor said she was confused this morning.
I am total confused. And what y'all do for the 4th?
Yeah, I think for us it's just, took some time to just chill. You know, listen to the fireworks, go look at the fireworks. I got caught in the traffic. I dropped my sister off and trying to go back home at the wrong time and got caught on Ellerton Parkway, and it was standstill. And I'm gonna be honest, and I apologize to whoever it was, but I ended up getting caught in the traffic, and then I thought it was just this one car. So I just look, man, like you in the street, look at the fireworks. 30 seconds later, I went around the corner like we were standstill. Yeah, for 30 minutes. So yeah, whoever that was, I apologize. It wasn't on you.
Yeah. I fireworks over here in the hood, man. Let me tell y'all something. I don't know where y'all be buying them things. But I had to go get my tiff. Anybody know what I'm like? These ain't no firecrackers. I need to arm myself.
They getting fireworks off the black market. It's so loud.
Man, I'm like, where the hell are they buying from? Who sells that?
Yeah, they getting them off the black market. Them ain't no regular off the interstate fireworks.
No, ain't nobody got no permit for them. Ain't no way. You hear me? I said, Jesus, these are not the fireworks from 1980.
They got the same fireworks that they be popping downtown and be like, oh, you want to see Metro Show? We got it right here in the backyard.
I don't even know, man. I'm gonna tell you the sound of something that sound like cannons. But I tell you, what's the song, the national anthem, the Rockets, Red Glare. I said, shoot, bombs bursting in there. I just started singing. I couldn't help but sing the song. I said, shoot.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, Yvonne says on her street it was a war. I think that was like that all across Nashville. Like people were having firework wars. And I'm like, man, it is. Yeah. And it just wasn't on July 4th. Like that's how I know I'm getting a little old. I can take it on the 4th. I was like, all right, like I give you your time. I've been there. But I'm saying some of these people started July 1st.
June 28th.
They were not playing. Yep. Mary says they sound like gunshots. They were so loud. Yep. And Mary, we should be talking to you tonight too. So thank you for jumping on. But like a bomb was going off. Yeah. Like we said, these ain't no regular fireworks. These off the black market. And nobody don't never say where they got them from. They just got a guy or a woman who's like a firework guy. But
wait a minute. I ain't seen nobody though.
I ain't.
That's what's fun. I'm like, I hear all this noise. Ain't nobody outside.
I'm telling you.
Because I'm looking through the blinds. I'm like, turn the lights off in the house. I said, shoot, somebody trying to get in here. House shaking. Whew. You talking about somebody that needs some anxiety medicine. I'm like, You know what?
Yeah.
But then they don't want to go to bed.
Yeah. I think little Carson's so used to it, it didn't even bother him. Didn't even bother me. Like, man, I've been hearing this all for the past 2 weeks. What are we doing?
Yeah. But very interesting. I tell you what's funny is I asked the question. I said, I need somebody from leadership to tell me what we call July 4th now.
Come on now. You're right.
Are we just cooking? What we doing, y'all? Y'all need to help a sister out. I'm a team player, but I need somebody to let us know what we supposed to do on July 4th.
Right. We didn't play no Star Spangled Banner. We put the grill out, invited some people over, and we just
the brothers.
Family day. Family day. That's how we did it.
Joyce said the bombs was going off to 2 a.m.
Come on now. Yeah, some places they ain't in stop. I think I still hear. Maybe I got PTSD, but I still hear them in the background. Boy.
Well, you know what? It's good to laugh. I need that laugh. My head was hurting.
Yeah.
I told him, I heard you.
Latia says cookout celebration. Ivory says National Barbecue Day. I say the holiday after Juneteenth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, the Washington Redskins, they're not the Redskins. They just the Washington football team. This the holiday after Juneteenth.
Okay. So that's what we're going to call it.
Come on now.
I was confused. I was like, man, I don't know what to say to everybody. I don't want to say, you say the wrong thing. They say you're a colonizer. Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I didn't get no happy July 4th text. I could appreciate that.
Man, didn't nobody say nothing in the house. I woke up in confusion. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I don't post it on my social media. I was like, I need somebody in leadership to help me. What am I supposed to say? I think I called John. John, what am I supposed to do today?
I think Latia got the best one. She says, happy 4th of the deny.
Happy 4th of the deny. That's right.
Yeah, there we go. I'm going to rock with that one, Latia. You rocking with it too? Okay.
He's over there.
When they hear the sounds, they think people talking to them. So it's a good practice. But yeah, he responding like we talking to him.
And he is loud mouth GG.
Come on now.
Hey, bud.
Yeah, what a party at. I'm gonna bring him over in a little bit. But one of the first things we wanted to kick off is to talk about this bus tour. And so it's kind of coupled with the bus tour. We're going to run through the article for just a little bit, but Dr. Penny Swin, who's a commissioner of education, went on the bus tour really to highlight summer learning. And she ran into a lot of happiness, but she ran into some parents who got questions about critical race theory. And so we're going to pull this up.
He said she ran into a lot of happiness. I'm sorry, y'all. That tickled the crap out of me.
So let's see. Let me.
Jesus help us.
And so the article says the Tennessee school chief faces pressure over curriculum as group files first complaint on the new critical race theory law. And then we'll just kind of paraphrase. It says pressure is mounting for Tennessee Education Commissioner Penny Swin to address curriculum used in dozens of school districts, which some parents say includes material that is not age appropriate or even illegal under a new law. Some parents and lawmakers are urging Swin to revoke the permission for school districts to use the set of literacy materials and force them to find replacements. And then the last part, the Williamson County chapter of Moms for Liberty, a conservative parent group, first raised concerns about wit and wisdom and elementary and middle school literacy curriculum used by at least 30 parents. So they have filed a grievance under the new law, restricting how the topics of race and bias. They originally planned to protest Swin's visit when she went to Allendale Elementary. Instead, they met with Swin on Wednesday as guest of Representative Sapicki, who is chairman of the Tennessee House Education Instruction Subcommittee. So I'll pull that off.
You just really want me to talk about this? You sure?
We want to get the thoughts of people out there because this is interesting.
You really want me to tell you how I feel about all this?
And just for people, I see people CRT and some people know what it is. They call it critical race theory. And what we passed a new law at the state saying you couldn't teach critical race theory, which I really don't know what's defined as critical race theory, but wit and wisdom is a curriculum that's used in Williamson County. And now it is a huge debate, so much where they were running up on the commissioner and asking her to get rid of it. But what do you think, Sonia?
Which part? Where you want me to start with?
Like the critical race theory part. So just like think about like what you were taught and what you would like kids to be taught about history. You know, as critical race theory is what they deem as history. I got to come up with another word to call it because I don't look at it as critical race theory.
Okay, so I'm gonna be real. Y'all open up y'all's ears. Y'all tell y'all's children to close theirs. First of all, critical race theory has never been taught in public education. We have to ask ourselves, well, where the hell did this all come from? Why are we even talking about this right now? I'll tell you, it's a distraction. See, the reason why you have people that don't want to talk about critical race theory is because when you start talking about race, people feel ashamed. They feel ashamed of themselves, their family history, and they also feel a threat to their privilege. Now, I think we should all be ashamed of this country's history, of how this country has oppressed Black people and enslaved people. But I also think we got a duty to talk about it and to do something about it and not hide it and not hide the fact that this was done to people and it's still being done to people. So the whole conversation is a political conversation. First of all, we don't give a damn. We could care less. I repeat, we could care less about this discussion. I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why folk don't want you to talk about CRT is because when you don't have knowledge of that stuff, then you don't have power. This is all about power. It's about who's got the power. And so for those who don't want to talk about it, they want to take away power, they want to keep their privilege. And the fact that they deny the fact that white people don't have privilege is a damn lie in itself. What is that word that they use now when they say when something is happening, but people try to say it's not? It's a new word going all over Twitter. I can't never think of that word. Anyway, this is about people who want to keep power. And what we should be talking about is teaching children how to read. And so anything else we're talking about is irrelevant. And the reason why we're not talking about things such as making sure children know how to read is because when you have knowledge, you have power.
Yep.
And so those in power, because those who are passing these laws and those who are talking about anti-CRT are those who have power, who have money. These are white, rich, stay-at-home Williamson County mamas showing up at a restaurant and following a bus, attacking the education commissioner because they want to protect their privilege.
Yeah.
I said it. Now somebody gonna call me and say it, but it's true. Check it out. They don't work. They ain't no lie. They was at a restaurant, gathering up, reading wit and wisdom, reading the curriculum, and saying how it applies to CRT instead of thinking about how it will help children to read. See, if you can read anything you want to.
You can read anything you want to.
And when you can't read, you cannot read anything you want to.
Yep. So you gotta take what they give you.
Thank you. This is about controlling people. This is about controlling people, controlling the narrative. This is about distracting everyone around this country from the real thing. Teach children how to read. When you teach children how to read and read what the hell they want to read.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the conversation when it comes to Metro. I know we haven't talked about it much, but I know Wit and Wisdom was a curriculum that we're looking at. But I've been waiting for somebody to really just own it. Like, this is an opportunity. I tell people I love history, right? And when you read history, you look to identify with how does that relate to you. And so I remember this is something that I'll never forget. I remember reading about Hannibal, and they in my textbook, and this is a Metro school back in the day when I was in elementary, it showed a picture of a white man called Hannibal riding elephants through the Alps, conquering other countries. And in my mind, I thought it was a white man. It wasn't until I went to my grandmother's house and looked at the black calendar and saw that Hannibal was a black man. And so I had to do my own research and realize that my school, that curriculum was misleading me. And I asked, but why for? Like, why would they intentionally whitewash history?
And Chanel, she found the word for me, gaslighting. See, this is what I noticed. I be calling John out the blue. Because I be like, John, help me out. Because I be thinking about stuff. It'll just come out the blue. And I be like, everything that we get wind of as Black people, folks start fighting against it. I'm gonna give you an example. We start talking about learning loss. And folks been talking about learning loss for years, y'all. They got data and research and all kinds of stuff behind it, right? Like, learning loss has been one. So when we started talking about our children having learning loss, folks start saying there ain't no such thing as learning loss. Right? So when we start talking about our children having the right to read and having a curriculum that's a curriculum that will help children no matter their learning disability, their grade level, because those are the things that are important, right? When we start talking about that, then there's something wrong with the curriculum when Williamson County has been using it all this time. Does anybody else notice stuff like that? When we get wind of it, when we get the knowledge of it, then folk want to erase it. That goes for our history and what folk did to us and doing to us, to even the curriculums in the school.
Even the curriculums in the school.
Folk want to erase stuff so that we don't know. Knowledge equals power. This is about taking away people's power. This is not about a little girl that felt like, people was going to be mad at her because of stuff her ancestors did. And this is not about that. Mm-hmm. Because when our children get called monkeys in school, ain't nobody writing no laws about saying, not calling them monkeys. Mm-hmm. Don't get me started.
Yeah. And this is just something
our kids, John, when they get called monkeys and all kinds of stuff in school. My kids don't been called monkeys. My white kids, whose parents allowed them to do that.
Yep.
And ain't nobody on the Hill wrote no law about that.
Right.
They ain't wrote no law about them calling us the N-word either. But when we start talking about the truth of what people's ancestors did, they granddaddies and stuff that they look up to, then folk got something to say. They can kiss my right and my left foot.
Come on now. Twice. And Marnisha says it best, or being taught how to make a slave. That's something that we dealt with that was part of the curriculum, right? Like it was a student teacher, but she got it approved by the head teacher. And we're still in a state where they still honor Nathan Bedford Forrest Day. So as we talk about,
I'm just chilling you on, man.
Yeah. This is a state where the governor even signed off on it. Like regardless of the legislature, it got sent to his desk and he signed it. And these are things that we forget about. And people get mad and they start talking about whatever this CRT is. But at the end of the day, people need to know their heritage. I'll never forget again. I had a Caucasian friend and I remember how proud he was to talk about his history. He even went back to William Wallace, the guy in Braveheart, and told me that was part of his lineage. Like he was so proud. And it made me go look up my lineage and look at the good things that my people have done. But again, sadly, in the basic curriculum of the school, they taught me about Martin Luther King, that he had a dream, and they told me about slavery. And both of those, unfortunately, for Martin Luther King to be assassinated and for slavery to go on for 400 years, those are not things that I really are super duper proud about. Like I'm proud of the dream and I'm proud of the determination of my people, but it's apples and oranges. Like we did not, and we still don't get the same amount of respect for the things that our ancestors did that would make us proud.
Man, as I get older, I notice stuff more so than I did coming up. I said to myself the other day, I said, "Self, D-Mama said, self. These folk find a way to legalize the stuff that they do to us, to make it law, power. This is about power. When you have, there's so many other things that lawmakers should be making laws about. Where's our anti-racism laws? These things that we fighting for. These people are making laws and we're nonpartisan.
Right.
Let me give that disclaimer. I'm talking about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't born on either side of the. I was born black.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But these people are able. These people have the power to make things better, and they just don't. So let's keep talking about that.
Yeah.
So as far as the CRT laws, first of all, it's a distraction. CRT's never been taught in public education.
Right.
In the first
Come
place.
on now.
Never. We've always been taught things that are untrue in school, or it was just never talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So they can move to the side with that. As far as I'm concerned, because what this is a political game that folk is playing. And this is about people trying to protect their privilege and gaslighting, saying that they don't have privilege because of the color of their skin. Look at me in my face and tell me that the color of my skin don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me in my eyes and tell me, try to be truthful and tell me that I have the same opportunities as them. They can't even. I bet they can't nobody look at me in my face and say they better not. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
Not with a straight face. Not with a straight face. So that's where I stand. I told y'all. I don't know if y'all want me to say. I really didn't say everything I wanted to say, but that was just the clean version.
Yeah. But I even think just conversations I've had this week as we look at, I was talking to a grandparent and she was saying how, things have just really changed, changing our school system is not how it used to be. And we started to talk about the why and where did it go and like, what are some of the ways that we can get it back? And she started to realize things that they were teaching her and her family back in the day, they have taken it away. Yeah.
Hey, what wrong, Peanut?
He about to get that gold now.
Yep, he about to come him up.
Yeah.
Now put his thing over here, John. Get his blanket, John, to finish the
Yep. Come on.
John got to put y'all. Peanut got the certain way he got to sleep. His Gigi, I already know. He got to be covered up like he being nursed. And he'll be just fine. I love it. John's little colleague. See, I told y'all he'd be fine. You ready now?
You don't. Come on. You know how babies can sense though when they know you got something to do. They coming with the fire. They like, oh, like I already know I can get away with some things right now because they got to focus. Yeah.
And he on TV.
Yeah. He said, let me see myself. But yeah, I just think like even listening to parents are just starting to realize it. And we have to have these conversations. Parents always lead with parents need to do better. It's the parents' fault. And I asked them, who's your stock investor? What stocks are you investing in? And a lot of people are quiet, but somebody might get tested and be like, oh, I got this. I got my Google stock. I got my Nike stock. I was like, but who told you that? Who told you how to get on the market? And they start to realize like kids can't do a generation. Son, you always say we're going to lose a whole generation, right? And if you even backtrack, like we have lost a whole generation because we don't have the basics, but we're talking about what continues and how do we stop it? And I think as people, somebody said, we got to stop putting the onus or the responsibility just on the parent to do better when you struggling and you running just to survive, right? Like, look how much rent is, right? Like it's it's connected to everything. If your rent is $1,200, but you make $12 an hour, like you got to make some decisions. How much do I work? What do I do with that money? And I think we got to get to the point where it's the demand, and we all come together for a common cause to demand how we want to see our kids educated. And so as they're protesting wit and wisdom, I ain't read the curriculum yet, son, you may know, but maybe that's something we need to demand it. Like we need to go the opposite way, because we have to do it together. And we clearly realize, as strong as we are individually, that we can't do it alone.
And you always, I always tell people, you question everything, you question everybody, and there you find the truth. So shoot, I went to Great Minds yesterday and asked them to send me the wit and wisdom.
Okay.
I want to see it. Like question everything. Like roll up. The question there said, "Who are you, parent?" They said, "What school you with?" I said, "School of Hard Knocks." Like don't be afraid to push the envelope. I'm like, shoot, I need to see this too. The children gonna be reading it. What's up? What's all the fuss about? Right? Let me see what the fuss is about. I haven't heard anything negative about it.
Right.
And so, those parents who are in Williamson County are saying things like, it talks about things that they feel like a child K through 2, it would be too sensitive for them. And I'm like, but them the children that's excluding kids on the playground. See, don't nobody want to talk about that real stuff, y'all. Like, I hear the stories all the time about kids that go to preschool, daycare, and won't nobody play with their kid because they Black.
Yeah. So
they're getting it from somewhere.
Yeah.
They're getting it from somewhere.
Yeah.
And is it really the book? Is it that it's in the home?
Yeah.
It's really in the home. How you know what? They need to run up on somebody and figure out how to stop it in the home.
Yeah. If we really want to fix the problem.
If we really want to fix the problem, let's stop it. Let's stop that mess in the home. Let's stop the generational curse that way. Not depriving children. Because see, the reason why this is such a hot topic about the wit and wisdom is because if our district is planning on using it, if they decide to file a lawsuit or something, this affects us too.
Yep. There you go.
That's the only reason why this conversation is relevant. It's because I believe that they're getting ready to file some type of lawsuit. And so what you guys got to remember, on July the 1st, you had all of this legislation passed, right? You had your learning loss legislation, which includes literacy. Your reading 360. We're going to talk more about that too, because I don't think it's the end all be all for the literacy crisis, but folks think it is. And that's why this needs to be relevant and on your radar. You got to be entrenched so you don't get the okie doke. For far too long, we've depended on what folk tell us. And I can't do it no more, John.
Yeah, you and me either.
I got questions. I'm demanding answers. Show me better than you can tell me anything at 45 years old. And when I joined this movement, I said, I don't never want another parent to feel the way that I felt. When I've experienced the betrayal, the hopelessness, the helplessness. I never want any of you guys to feel like that ever again. And that's in your child's education and in your life. You have the right to be in the know and to have the knowledge. You have the right to be taught how to read, all of those things. And I think that we have trusted for too long, and people have put us in a position where it's so dire that you have to depend on whatever they give you. And we've got to stand up to that. No, you deserve better. You deserve to be a homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve all this stuff is tied in together. When you think about the politics, the real estate, the jobs, where we live at, redlining, all those things, the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
We got a system failure.
Mm-hmm.
And we got people who have benefited from this and they want to protect it at any cost and all costs.
Point blank period.
Point blank period.
Point blank period.
And they gonna come with it.
Yeah. And so we always talk about, and this is something we dig deep into, we talk about the Metro Schools budget. And increasingly, every time I ask parents now, like, what's the budget? I see how much they value the success of the school system. I asked one person, they were like, 50 million. One person was like 10 million. One person said 500,000. And every time I tell them it's 1.2 billion, they lose it, right? Because they realize they was like billion with a B. Billion, I was like billion with a B. And they lose it because they realize that what we have in $1 billion, we should be educating kids. And the last article that I'll pull up talks about the Tennessean reporting on a enrollment drop. And I want to talk to you guys. Why do you think the enrollment drop happened? Do you think it'll bounce back? But we'll pull an excerpt from this article. Okay. And it says, well, the headline reads, National Public School enrollment dropped 5% during the COVID-19 pandemic. It usually drops 2.9. It says it dropped nearly twice the state average thanks to the coronavirus pandemic. As schools struggled to reopen amid the pandemic, public school enrollment dropped nationwide. The number of K-12 students attending public school nationally dropped roughly 3%, but Metro Nashville saw enrollment drop from 85,237 to 80,952 students in January of 2021, which represents a 5% decrease. Sean Bracestead says MNPS, like most school districts across the country, saw enrollment declines caused by the pandemic in the 2020-2021 school year. And then lastly, as school districts debated when and how to reopen them amid the pandemic, some families pulled their children out of districts that opted for virtual learning to homeschool them or send them to private schools. And then I'll stop right there. And so as you guys read that, and one thing that we haven't talked about a lot is the Delta 8 variant that's really creeping its way up as I try to read the paper and stay on top of it. It's not critical yet, but it's still in the background and it's creeping. And so as we read this article, why do you think enrollment has gone down and hasn't gone back up? Or do we think it's going to go back up once the new school year starts?
You asking me?
Yeah, we'll start with you, but definitely parents chime in on that.
Yeah, chime in.
Ivory says, I believe it happened because parents feel their children are not learning, and I do not believe it will come back until they change something.
My point exactly. It dropped.
Yeah.
What's the plan to recover children from learning loss?
What's the plan to recover children from learning loss?
I can't do nothing about folks.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we got to do what we got to do for our children. So if folks took their kids out of school, that's the choice and decision they made.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do nothing about that. Let me tell y'all something, and I say this to our team all the time. I ain't trying to change nobody's mind.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much energy. I ain't trying to convince nobody of nothing. It's too much energy.
Mm-hmm.
My prayer is that parents and grandparents make informed decisions about their children's education. That's my prayer. That is my fervent prayer and my plea to God.
Yeah.
It's opportunities for parents and grandparents to make informed. They got to do what's best for this. So if folk took their children and put them in private school, more power. I took mine out of a private school.
Mm-hmm.
And some took theirs into a private school.
Mm-hmm.
That was my choice. I had to make that choice based on my knowledge, my beliefs, what I had to do for my family for us to survive, and what was best for my children. And so enrollment drop. What are we going to do when we go back into these buildings? That's all I care about. Rest of it is an irrelevant conversation. It is adults going back and forth about something that don't amount to a hill of damn beans. I think if any conversation about this, it's about maybe this is rooted and grounded in money, right? Maybe the conversation is truly about an enrollment that is dropping, achievement gaps that are widening, and historic amounts of money coming into the school system. And what are we going to do about it? Those are the conversations that I want to be part of. Those are the conversations that I feel like are relevant and things we have to find solutions to. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's just my take on it. We're in the middle of a pandemic and decisions had to be made about school closures that you better get your ass ready for coming this fall. Last year, what did I predict, John?
On which
March? In March.
Yeah.
In March of 2020, I told the team we wasn't going back in those buildings.
Yeah. I thought we were going to be out for 30 days.
March 2020, everybody looked at me and said, Sonia, and what I say, John?
Yep. We ain't going back to the fall. Yeah.
And they looking at me like, what?
Yeah. I was like 30 days.
I said, they not going back. I said, a decision wasn't going to be made to October. Did I not?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I said, they not going back in them buildings. How did somebody, mama from out north, know that? And everybody else didn't. And when I say everybody else, I mean those who had all of this medical and stuff. See, I got a medical background, so I kind of figured we was dealing with a little something that was a little mysterious. Mm-hmm. And I didn't talk about that much because I don't like to put my beliefs on people, right? Like if I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna back it up. And so to me, it was just theory for me. But I'm gonna tell you this. If anybody under the sound of my voice haves or have not think that this is over, you out your damn mind.
Yeah. And can we change it? So Miss Cassandra Compton just said something that I think we need to address as we think about where do you put your time, your talent, and the real support, right? So Cassandra says they're giving people money to come to Nashville, right? And as we look at a community, right, that's really struggling with affordable housing, that's really struggling with food deserts and things shutting down, is really struggling with low-paying jobs in a city where, like you said, it take at least 65, if not 80, to live. And this is I really want to get you guys' opinion, because when we don't direct our attention to things like this, they pump these resources out of our community and put them in communities or put them in things that they deem that are important. So Governor Lee says Tennessee will pay for tourist airfare. It makes little sense, counters top GOP leader. And so Governor Bill Lee over the holiday weekend announced the state will now buy plane tickets for tourists planning to visit Tennessee's largest city, an initiative being funded by tax dollars and drawing opposition from one of the legislature's top leaders. The state's buying all these airline tickets and giving them away to anybody who books 2 nights in a hotel room. So it's Tennessee on me, Lee said to Paisley in the video as the two worked out a jingle for the program. Okay, so I mean, sometimes you read something like, is that satire? Is that The Onion?
John, cut my microphone off because you know my new cuss word I made up that I'm finna patent. He is that right there. Let me tell y'all something. We do this show every week. And we talk about building a movement. Ivory said, but why? Because he has the power to do it, Ivory.
He has the power to do it.
He has the power to do it. And Ivory, what have I taught y'all? The equation for power. And that's what we're going to have to do. This is a slap in the face of those who are have-nots and have unheard voices. This is privilege at its best. This is the ugly and dark truth that folk don't want us to talk about. My Twitter gonna be going today. I'm sorry.
It's just, you know, I really thought it was satire because in a place where we're building, you know, a lot of people on this chat have been born and raised in Nashville, have lived here their whole life. They remember Opryland before it was Opry Mills Mall. You know, you remember the wave pool. You know, you remember a lot of historical facts. And a parent told me, she was like, we pay people to kick us out. We pay people our sales tax, our tax dollars to use that money to incentivize other people to come in. And when I read that, it wasn't related to education, but it was just related to humanity. And I was like, somebody sat in a room and had this big idea and they pitched it to people at a table. And those people at the table, the majority of them, if not all of them, said that is a great idea. So much where we're going to get a country music star. We're going to do a commercial. We got problems.
I got so many cuss words going through my head right now. I probably need counseling.
Yeah.
I am 45 years old, and I don't got where I just want to just say whatever. And I know I can't, because I've been trying to teach my children that. I be like, you can't say everything on your mind. But when people deliberately do this kind of bullshit, like, see, that was in print in the Tennessean. How many black folks reading the Tennessean? Not very many. So the parents, I want to tell y'all something. I want you to get you a subscription to the Tennessean. As a matter of fact, I think our team, I want to start printing this stuff out for our parents.
Yeah.
Hell, I want to work out a deal with the Tennessean for our parents. Megan, if you listening, help a sister out. They need to be reading. They do some good reporting. And we need to be, our parents need to have some subscriptions to this stuff. You guys, and we're going to make sure we put this stuff in front of you every week. We are committing to that because these are the things that people in our community, they just don't even know is happening.
Yep.
I mean, y'all, pages and pages and pages of laws passed July 1st that are life and death for you. They're life and death for you. They're things, if you make a critical mistake, even with carrying. You know, I saw some of my friends posting their guns on Facebook. And my question to them was, so now we posting our guns on here. We gotta be careful. This world ain't for us. This right here, John, when I tell you, the anger that I feel right now, the heartbreak, right? Like the gaslighting.
Yeah.
That's being done to us, like stuff like, oh, this is we're equitable, and no, there's no racism. That is foundationally built in racism when you got hungry black folk and some poor white folk.
Right. Don't get it twisted.
Although our parents, most of them we represent, black people, we got white parents in our community who are struggling, and we represent them too. Because they the have-nots too. And that law right there, that should be a wake-up call to some folk.
You struggling, and they sending people in on planes. Like they not saying if you get a ticket, right? This how crazy it is. They're not saying if you buy your airline ticket, they can cost between $300 to $800. They just saying, look, man, all you got to do is buy the hotel and come on in, and we're gonna get your plane ticket for you.
Y'all, me and my significant other went to a restaurant downtown a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't a restaurant that we normally would have picked. We went into this restaurant and they were playing live music. And when I tell y'all, they were like hollering out, asking for, requests. He said, y'all, he low down to and petty. Told the girl to play Aretha Franklin. Respect.
Nice nasty.
I told him to play, asked him to play Best Part by her. But anyway, we was the only people from Nashville in there.
Wow.
They started calling us Nashville. Like they was literally like talking to us in the audience, calling us Nashville. And folk was running up on us, like from California, like talking to us. They was like, we hadn't seen no real Nashvillians. We want to move here. I mean, they were real nice people. And we looked at each other. Mind you, he ain't from Nashville either, but I was Nashville. So I was the only Nashvillian in there. Y'all, it ain't gonna be no Nashvillians up in here. I'm saying to say that I was the only born and raised Nashvillian, and it was a big place. The only one up in there. Is this a coincidence?
Right.
Or is this intentional?
Right.
You answer it.
Yeah. And people don't realize, before consolidation around the city, they designed it and it was segregated because people had moved out to the suburbs. And once the real power started coming within the city of Nashville and not the county of Davidson, they consolidated, and it washed all the power and growth down the drain. So as you look at stuff like this, like keep asking yourself and ask your friends, ask your family members, is it a coincidence or is it intentional? And Victoria says, as we know, I think Victoria is a natural native. It's intentional.
Yeah, I'm gonna give y'all a hint. At 3 o'clock in the morning, when I'm awake, I work on my financial literacy. I encourage you to do the same. I encourage you. See, this is real talk, parents, things we care about, we need to talk about. I know this, a lot of us are in a place of struggle. I struggle too.
Yeah.
You ain't got to stay there. You ain't got to stay there. Think about your future. Think about your spending habits. Think about anything from your hair to your nails. I ain't saying you got to walk around here and look terrible. But ask yourself, can you live in that hair and them nails? because the communities that we have right now that you're staying in, they're taking over them. And so I know some of you can say, well, I'll move to Clarksville. It'll be next.
Oh, yeah. Come on now.
This is about wiping out a race. Yeah, I said it. I said it, damn it, and I don't regret saying it. I don't say nothing I regret saying.
Mm-hmm.
This is about genocide, extinction. This is what this is about. This is about making sure, like they've made parents think that just because their child has a disability, and that's the reason why their child can't read.
Right.
Listen to me. If your child has a learning disability, autism, ADD, ADHD, what's some of the others?
Mm-hmm.
ODD, any of those things, they should, if they're in the second, if they're in any grade, they still should know how to read.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what they say. I don't care what you say to me. I'm telling you, it's a lie. You've been lied to. And half of the disabilities that they're labeling our children with are not disabilities that count for any benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me started on that.
Mm-hmm.
Join this movement and learn how to fight for your kids and all kids. Let's stop this thing right now. We ain't got time to play. That's why you see me so intense. Because we don't have time. We're running out of time. They making laws and laws and laws and laws and laws every day.
Every day.
To take us out. To take your baby out that you birthed. And I don't care about that.
Yeah. They don't hear us though. They said people protesting. They passed a law to say if a person hit the protester, they ain't even liable. They passed that in some states.
Man, Equity Alliance registered all them people to vote. They got mad and tried to write a law against registered people to vote.
Watch out now. I'm gonna tell you one history lesson before we go. After Juneteenth, Black people started to get a lot of power. You know, they got their 40 acres and a mule. Some people were state reps and state senators and went to Congress. And you know what eradicated all that? They started what they termed Jim Crow laws and took all those things that they had gotten, took it away from them with pen and paper. History repeats itself.
Big Nod says, he said something about it's a choice to be rich or to be poor. And I want to add something to that. If you know better.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what we got going on, y'all. I'm going to say this. I know we're going over, but I got to say this, John.
Okay.
I said this last night, and this is probably going to be controversial.
Okay.
People are fighting every day to take away our choice. I say this all the time: when Black folk don't have a choice, we die.
Mm-hmm.
You have people trying to take away school choice. You have people trying to take away CRT.
Mm-hmm.
Or so they say. Most of the people that our people vote for fight against you having a choice in education. And those on the other side, predominantly in education, you know, are okay with choice. And that's because you got to always look at people's motives because it affects them.
Mm-hmm.
I said that to say neither side wants us to have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Neither side wants us to have a choice. And I would love to have this debate with somebody and point it out. I'm not going to go into it now. But every day, somebody is fighting against you to have a choice to be in poverty or not. And the powers of be have created a space that has formed the mindset and our subconscious beliefs that we can't have better and we shouldn't do better. And so there's some truth to what he said, but there's also more packed into that. Because if I can be rich tomorrow, hell, I would be. Shit. But there are some things that even in my subconscious mind that have been planted there, there's also some things that have been done to me and some obstacles and some barriers and white supremacy and those things that have been put in the way that are barriers for us. And so when people say that there's not any more of the institutional systemic racism, it's a lie.
Come on now.
And so there's some truth to what he was saying, but also I wanted to make sure that you guys know that you know how to decipher what having a choice is and what's not, and when your choices are being taken away, and when it's a threat to your choice. And there's a threat on every level of education, real estate, all of those things economically that put you in positions on purpose. If we don't educate you, because see now, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be quiet. I want y'all to think about this. You got more Black people getting college degrees than ever. And so once upon a time, when you got a college degree, that informed your pay. Shit, now you get a bachelor's degree, they want to pay you $15 an hour. When we get hip to stuff, they move the measure stick.
Yep.
On purpose.
Yeah. And thank you guys for checking in, and I'll end it with just relating it to education as we talk about poverty pimping. Just know people are making tons of money off the uninformed, and they make a ton of money off putting money to make sure that you stay uninformed. And so not only do they make money, but they give people money to make sure that you're uninformed. When we got $1 billion budget each year that people don't know about, when we have people struggling just to pay their rent, when we have people living in cesspools with roaches and rats and sewage, and then you got a governor giving people tickets to fly here and hang out, we got a problem.
Oh, do we have a problem? This grieves my spirit.
We thank you guys, and we will see you next week.